Hello everyone, and welcome to the Signal State, which is a cute little small team puzzle game based around hooking together wires, much like you can see here on this little title screen. This was featured in, I think it must have been the Tiny Teams Festival a while ago, and I really liked the look of it, and it came on sale recently, so I thought, well, why not? I'm going to be diving in today. Heads up news that this might be a little bit of a short stream. Sorry, I'm just... On my OBS display, when I mouse over a button on the menu, it gets a little like orange highlight. But on my screen that I'm actually playing, it does not get that orange highlight. And I find this very perplexing. Give me a moment, because this is new. I've never seen this before. So the game was playing properly in my OBS window, but was not playing at all on my window. I don't know what's up with that. Okay, I am actually seeing the same thing that you're seeing now, which is good. Our machine stopped working years ago. Not just ours, everyone's. Computers, appliances, everything. No one knows why. Entire cities ground to a halt. I wasn't even born when it happened. All I can remember were the distant dark cities hidden in smog. So here we are. Building everything from scratch, putting the pieces in the right places. My radio crackles to life. You should be nearly there. Do you see it? Hold on. Yeah, I think I do. Da 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 da. A farm. It's in quite a state. That's where we come in. The farm is our home now and it needs some fixing. We're going to be alone for now, but hopefully not for long. Go forth, rebuild. Okay, marvelous. So, sort of post-apocalypse, but like gently post-apocalypse. Ooh, I like this version of the title screen. Game? The music just stopped. Oh, okay, music's back. Game is back. Okay, fantastic. Let's pretend we're not sure why we're here. Our scouts found the farm you're at right now some weeks ago. It's in a state of disrepair and we need to get it back up and running again. With it running, we'll have 2 farms. More food, more space for our community. How do I do that? All the machines are going to need to have their internal electronics rewired. We sent you out with your own personal modular rewiring system. With it you can design circuits or emulate the behavior of broken components within the machines. You're going to hack and repair these machines to get the farm up and running again. How does the rewiring work? We have to recalibrate your system anyway, so the sooner we begin, the sooner you'll understand how it works. Click to go to the details tab. Okay, so we've got chat, we've got details. So I guess this is the details for the next puzzle. This is a diagnostics test to verify that the signal pipeline works to connect SRC1 directly to both out 1 and out 2. So this is what we have to do. And then if we care about leaderboard rankings, which we don't, then I guess using smaller numbers of modules, smaller numbers of rack space, smaller numbers of cables, don't know about this, and doing it more quickly are all better. If we care about the leaderboard, which again, we don't. We just want to get through the puzzles. Rewire the circuits to repair the machine. Start with the given source signals, transform them, send them to the out sockets. The brief describes the objectives. Send the SRC1 signal to both out 1 and out 2. Use modules to transform signals. connect them with cables. Click and drag on sockets to create cables. White sockets are inputs, black sockets are outputs. Inputs can only be connected to outputs. Try it now. Connect SRC1 to the split input. Okay, so basically how this works is we have things to do, and then we have stuff that is coming in, and then we mess with it in this space, and then we have to put the messed with versions into the output. And the messing that we're doing is partly going to be sort of like mathsy based operations. So the coming in thing, the source, will be normally sort of like a signal. So it'll just be like a series of numbers. So it's like 0 for 2 seconds, and then 1 for 5 seconds, and 2 for 5 seconds, 3 for 5 seconds, and 4 for 5 seconds, etc, 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 etc. It can be more complicated than that, but that's the gist of it. And let's say, so at the moment, for the out, we just want 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for both outputs. But as we progress, we might want 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, etc, 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 which means we'll need to times it by 2. Or we might need 0, 0.5, 1, 1.5, 2, so we need to divide it by 2. And then sometimes we'll get some sources that are like in binary form, and so we'll want 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but we'll only want like every other second, for example. And so we'll have a source that is 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, and we have to kind of like, we have to use that as a binary on-off to modulate whether or not we're sending out this signal. But for now, this is a splitter. This is going to be the most important thing that we need. Boop. As it says, it takes one input signal and duplicates it to multiple output signals. So every output from here will be exactly the same as the thing that's coming in here. We can change... Oh, we can't change for the tutorial. Bip. So as you can see, the objective is connect SRC to both out 1 and out 2. So we've got this is coming in as SRC1, and the outputs are identical to SRC1. We hit play. And it makes a pretty noise, I guess. Boop. And you'll see, I'm assuming every single person here has the exact same score, because this is the tutorial. The system works perfectly, you're ready to begin. Start cataloguing the machinery on site. Start with the simple ones. Alright, I'll do my best. The game is a little jiggly when it goes from one puzzle to the next, or one scene to the next scene. Power generator. The work begins. So what's the end game? Why are we repairing this farm? We already have our cut ones giving us enough food. We'll have surplus food and more space for our community. I think we could do more than that. Okay, tell me when you're ready. Let's start with power. Looks like an LS Agritech generator. What's LS Agritech? A corp from the old world, probably the biggest manufacturer of agricultural equipment. Where is the farm without any LS Agritech? Right, so we want to send SRC to out 1, but with signal intensity tripled. So we're timesing it by 3. And we're going to have a new module to do that with. So in this case, as you can see, we've got 2 modules that we can't move. So we can... Each one of these is exactly the same as SRC1. So what it wants us to do is take SRC1 and SRC1 and SRC1, and this is a sum module. So this output here is equal to the combined value of everything we put in here. So as if we have 3 copies of SRC1 in here, then this puts out 3 times SRC1. And you can see that so this is the source signal, and this is the output signal that we're trying to match. And so you can see that when it's 15, we want an output of 45. When it's minus 15, we want an output of minus 45. We can also... Oh, apparently we can't click that button, never mind. What have we got here? Lock modules, lock cables, lock controls. Delete modules, delete cables. We can have hints if we want them. We can also apparently record if we want to, which we don't. And then we take this output and we connect it to output 1. Perfect. Good job. We'll probably have more Alice equipment to deal with. Agritech. Ooh. Alice Agritech is the name of historical baggage. So it's like fictional Monsanto. Oh, I don't like the way it does that between every thing. I guess there's nothing we can do about it. I guess so. It's a bit of math, a bit of logic. Yep. I'm just impressed human beings ever managed to make stuff this sophisticated. We didn't understand the machines, but we trusted them, we trusted their makers. Then they died without warning. Ooh. And we're not making that mistake again. Okay, I see. So there's the idea that if we do this personally, we know how to fix them. Which is probably not true, but you know. Out 1 receives SRC1 signal plus 5. Out 2 receives SRC1 divided by 2. Okay. Is it going to let us arrange our own modules this time? Module catalog shows what modules are available for this circuit. Read the descriptions to understand their behaviors. Click and drag on any module in the module catalog to add it to the rack. Try it now. Add an attenuator module to the rack. Oh, so this is a big chunky boy. Go. Click and drag on existing modules to arrange them. Drag them away from the rack to delete them. Delete the sum module. Oops. Okay. Some modules have adjustable controls that affect their behavior. Adjust the bias amount till it reads 10 volts by rotating the knob. Plus 10. So this is an adding module basically. Knobs can also be adjusted with the scroll wheel or by typing into the numeric display. Okay. So adjusting the value to 5 volts with the scroll wheel or typing. Fantastic. Use these buttons to toggle between the module catalog and the I/O panel. So the I/O is input-output. Shows the given SRC signals and the expected out signals you need to match. Hover over them to see their precise values, analyze them, you might notice patterns. Signals are always limited to plus minus 100. Try solving the circuit on your own, good luck. Okay, so SRC1, for starters, the thing that we notice immediately is we have two outputs that both need SRC1, so we're going to need to split SRC1. Boop. That's the very first thing. Now, if we want you to go to plus 5, we've already set this to plus 5. So we take SRC1, it becomes SRC1 plus 5, and we can put that to output 1, which is fine. We can then also, I don't think it matters what we put these, just so it's more visually convenient. We want, so attenuator, if I read over here, so sum takes 1 to 4 inputs and sums them together. Split takes 1 to 4 inputs and duplicates them. Sorry, takes 1 input and duplicates it to up to 4 outputs. Attenuator reduces its intensity, inverts it, or both. So this can go up to plus minus 100%. So if I have this at 100%, then it's just outputting the same thing that it inputs. If it's at minus 100%, this inputs minus what it gets in. So in this case, we want to halve the intensity, so we want this to be plus 50%, because we are halving it. Up. Oh, I didn't mean to move you. And I can jiggle these around to, like, change the line length. So this is length of cable used, which is one of the scores, apparently. I have no idea how exactly it's calculated, but that you can see this way we have the lowest score. There we go. Is it very daft? Yes. But we can do that to optimize the score if we care. If we don't. So you'll see that at every point it's actually giving us the numbers over each input and output so we can see what they are, which will be very useful for troubleshooting later, I'm sure. Right now, though, it's the challenges are conceptually easy enough that we can just kind of do them in our heads. Excellent. The generator is now able to officially route power to wherever systems are in need of it. Time for the next step. Time to bring the machines to life. Continue cataloguing what you have on site and what needs fixing. Some are simpler than others. Start by getting some of the lights in the farmhouse up and running. Is it complicated? Should be pretty simple. Oh, every time. It's not helping that I have a headache. Farmhouse lights on. The lighting circuitry is not too complicated. Some voltage levels will have to be altered to prevent blowing the lights out. Alright, let's start. Oh, it's been pretty creepy here. You're right to feel cautious. There might be strangers out in the wilds. They might not have the best of intentions. Well, yikes. Bandits are a thing. So get to work. Okay, good. Great. I'm just out here on my own, fixing all the machines so the bandits can come and steal them. Lovely. Out 1 is SRC 1 and 2 summed together. So we're going to need a sum. Out 2 is SRC 2 subtracted from SRC 1. So we're going to need to invert 2 and sum it to 1. I assume that's the best way to do that anyway. The system contains some functions meant for your convenience. You change the speed of signal playback. Cables can be coloured. Right click on an existing cable to update its colour. Ask for hints. The notepad and oscilloscope modules can be useful for debugging and experimenting. Always remember to read your brief, your objectives, good luck. Okay, so for starters we need to split SRC1 and we need to split SRC2 because we need both of them twice because they're both going into output 1 and output 2. So, like that. Let's actually move you down there, because we don't care about optimizing cable length. We then need to sum 1, oops, and 2, and then we need to minus, so we need to take output 2, source 2, sorry, and we need to instead have minus source 2. So in attenuator, set it to, oh wow, this is horrible, minus 100%, so this is now negative source 1. And then if we sum this together with output 1, this is output 1 plus minus output 2, that should be good. Go to our panel. Yeah, so you can see here we're turning plus 22 into minus 20, whatever. That's what the minus 100% attenuator does. There we go. Excellent. With the lights on, you should be able to get work done even at night. Please give me a second, I'm just checking Twitch for something, because I realised I've got a thing. That's marvellous. Am I expected to work nights as well? I leave that choice up to you. The sooner you get equipment up and running there, the sooner we can send people to help you run the place. Some of these machines are going to need new modules added to your rewiring system. I'll let Gordon deliver them to you when the time comes. Who is Gordon? He's the big blue engine. VCA test. Gordon. This is Gordon. Hi there, Gordon. It's me, Gordon Lee. We met briefly before you departed headquarters. I issued you a modular rewiring system. Right, I remember. Sent a delivery drone over to you with some new modules last night. Did you get it? Yes! You scared the... Okay. You scared the heebie-jeebies out of me. You thought you might want the new modules fresh out of the workshop. Does the freshness make a difference? These are voltage-controlled amplifiers, also known as VCAs. Are you familiar with them? No, not at all. Oh wow, this is a big message. VCAs control the intensity or amplitude of a signal with another signal. This other signal, the control voltage, is treated as a percentage value from 0 to 100, and is then multiplied with the input. At 0, the input signal is completely muted. At 100, the input signal is sent through unchanged. So this is effectively multiplying one signal by another. Effectively. Most of the time we can think about it as this is a multiplying two things together module. That's hit I still don't understand. Think of VCA like a faucet that controls water flow, except you control the water flow with another water flow. That is a terrible example, Gordon. Hook them up here and there and observe their behaviour, see what values they output. Don't worry, you won't break anything, and remember, if you're ever unsure, you can always ping us for some help. At each time step, Out1 receives a specified percentage of SRC1 signal. The percentage value is specified by SRC2. So this just means times SRC1 by SRC2. That's all it wants me to do. Right. VCA. I'm also not sure if it matters which way around we put these in. I mean, we can try. So this is if we have 1 as in and 2 as CV. So that gets to minus 25 at this point. Can I slow this right down? Hang on. $35, $80, $28, $40, $60, $27. Do you mind? Okay, it doesn't seem to matter which way around we put them in. Either way, that's all it wants from us. I like that it renders as music, the signal. I think that's a really nice touch. I think that's cute. Boop. Great job, you're a natural. Rude. Just heard from Gordon. Good work. You're well on your way to getting that farm back to its usual glory. Barn lights. More lights to jumpstart. The barn lights are a bit more complicated. They have variable intensity controls when the horses get grumpy, I guess. More complicated. Not to worry, the VCAs you have should come in handy. Alright, I'll try. Send SRC1 to out1, its intensity boosted by 50%. So this means plus 50%. SRC1 to out2 with intensity boosted by a percentage specified by SRC2. So this is SRC. So out1 is SRC1 plus 50% times SRC1. So we're going to halve SRC1 and then add it to SRC1. And then this one is we're going to multiply the two together and then add that to SRC1. Click on any timestamp in the I/O panel to add a breakpoint. Try it now. I don't think I want to do this, but okay. Signal playback will pause at each breakpoint, allowing you to visually debug your signal flow. Clicking on the same time step will remove that breakpoint. It's good because we don't want one of those. Okay, so firstly we need to split SRC1 because we need it twice. We actually did it 3 times. So we need to halve SRC1 and then add that to SRC1. So SRC1 plus half of SRC1 makes this, and that's out 1. We then need another copy of SRC1 that we're going to times by SRC2, and then we need to add that to SRC1 again. And that's output 2. Oh, no, what have I done wrong here? Oh, I haven't set the attenuator. That's what I've done wrong. I got a little bit ahead of myself, I didn't fiddle with the knob. That's fine. I forgot I have to actually set this. He doesn't just know what I want telepathically. Okay, that's cute. Great job. If you find any horses, I know where to bring them now. What's a horse? Oh, nice. Amazing. He's gone offline. Wonderful. Chaos creature Dizzy strikes again. Firmware programmer. I have no idea what a firmware programmer is. Vital piece of kit for burning firmware on some of your more advanced modules. It's digital and operates with binary signals. The VCA is still useful though, you can use it like a gate. Remember how this is the worst explanation of this at all. Do not listen to anything Gordon is saying. Fundamentally, we're still multiplying the two signals together. When the signal number 1 is at 1, we're multiplying it by 1, so it stays the same. When the signal number 1 is at 0, we're multiplying it by 0, so the output is 0. If the CV signal is only ever so the input signal is either passed through without changes completely muted. On what purpose does that serve? Functions as an automatically controlled mute button. You might have an input signal that has some unwanted signal values in there. At certain periods, I assume. You can use a VCA to filter out just those unwanted values, leave the other values untouched. SRC2 is a binary signal. When it's 100 volts, send SRC1 to out, otherwise send 0 volts to out. So that just means times them by each other. That's all I'm doing again. Part of this is they have a very complicated wordy way. Can I get rid of this notepad? No, apparently not. They have a very particular complicated and wordy way of saying what they want you to do, which is not necessarily always the most helpful. Like, this is just times SRC1 by SRC2. That's all it wants. But so when they say that the SRC2 is a binary signal, you can see here that it's always either 1 or 0. And so our output that we're getting is we're getting an output of 0, so it's always on this line whenever SRC2 is at 0. So here it's 0, here it's 0, here it's 0. And then whenever it's not 0, we're getting whatever SRC1 is doing. So when SRC2 is 1 for this whole stretch, this output curve is exactly the same as the SRC1 output curve. I could have explained that before we started, but I didn't. Simple enough. The real challenge with using VCAs as gates is the way, in this way, it's generating the CV signals. You need to generate a signal value that is at 100 volts when you want it, and 0 volts at any other time, and nothing in between. Sounds simple enough. Not always. It get a little tricky. You'll see soon enough. Oh, so are we going to make our own binary signals at some point, possibly? So this is as the binary and logic stuff comes in, that's when I feel like this gets a little more programming-y, as opposed to just like electronics-y. Because we're going to end up having to set up things like AND gates and OR gates and stuff. The power regulator on the firmware programmer is a bit more complicated. It's a dual transistor circuit, so you have to check the binary values of 2 different signals. How do I do that? Not too difficult, just give it a shot. We'll be here if you need any help. Thanks for the explanation, Gordon. It's a good job I kind of have an idea of what I'm doing. When they are both at 100 volts, send SRC1 to out 1, otherwise send 0 volts. Okay, so this is basically when these are both yes, so when SRC2 and SRC3 are yes, send the signal, otherwise send nothing. So we need to make an AND gate, because we need to find out when 1 and 2 are both yes, or both 1. And the way to make an AND gate in this game is very simple. You just times the 2 things together. Because when either of them is 0, the output of anything times 0 is always 0. And so they're only yes when this says 1 and this says 1. Because 1 times 1 is 1, and then 1 times 0 is 0. And 0 times 1 is 0, and 0 times 0 is 0. So that's why it's an AND gate. So we're taking this. This is going to be a binary signal as well. So this will only ever be 0 and 1. And then we're timesing this by SRC1. Boop. So we're saying SRC1 only when this binary value is 1, this binary value is 1 when both of these are 1. Boop. So as you can see, what we're expecting as an output is... so this is a point where both 2 and 3 are 1. So at this point we want the signal to look like SRC1, and at this point we want the signal to look like SRC1, and at this point we want the signal to look like SRC1, and all of these points in between, this should say 0. Boop. I think you understand VCAs pretty well now. That's okay, you can always review these circuits again at any time before moving on to new ones. You can also try designing different solutions to those circuits. Create designs that are more optimized or cheaper. Honestly sounds a bit like a waste of time, but hey, we have the option to do it. Logic test. I've never been much one for like leaderboard style games. Excellent, now that the firmware programmer is working, we can get the logic modules working and give them a test. Or and not. No, I don't know. We're going to pretend that I don't know. Logic modules take 1 or 2 inputs, treating them as binary signals, where positive voltage is on and negative or 0 is off. Okay, so these will take potentially a complicated signal and turn it into a binary signal. The names of the operation should give you a hint. For example, an OR module returns an on signal if either of its inputs is on. Or if both of them are on. Best way to understand is to try. Give it a shot and experiment with the modules. You should be able to grok them by intuition soon enough. I don't think I've ever grokked anything in my life. What the hell? Is that a real word or is that a typo? Right, so what have we got here? If SRC1 and SRC2 are both 100 volts, send 100 volts to out 1, otherwise send 0 volts to out 1. So output 1 is 1 and 2. Output 2 is 1 or 2. So and/or is an OR gate. There's something called, like, I think it's an exclusive OR gate. There's only if 1 or 2, but not both. I think that's the exclusive OR, which would be XOR written down. I'm not certain though. If SRC1 and 2 are both at 0, send 100 volts. Otherwise, send 0 volts to out 3. So this is if not 1 and 2, I think. Wait, hang on. No, so this is if they're both at 0 volts. So this is the inverse of this, because this is if either of them is not at 0, send the output. This is if both of them are 0, either, i.e., not when either of them is at 1. So this is not this. So not is just like inverted, basically. This is the one where the complicated language that they use starts to get a little messy. So this is when neither of these two things is 1, which is the opposite of this when either of these two things is 1. Right. So a NOT, this is just, the NOT gate that we have here, this is just an inverter, I think, basically. If the input signal is more than 0, output's 0, otherwise output's 100. So this is just an inverter. So what we're going to want to do is to start with output 1, because that's easy. This is just an AND gate. So an AND gate here, for binary signals, this AND gate is functionally identical to the VCA. It becomes not functionally identical when we're dealing with inputs that aren't just binary, but for our purposes today, this is the same as the VCA. We're going to need a lot of splitters. We need to split SRC1, and we need to split SRC2. So this takes both of them and ANDs them together, and that's fine. Then we need to OR them. I don't know of a way of making an OR gate simply using something like a VCA in this game, but to be fair, I don't know what other modules we're going to get. So the OR one, you can see, if either inputs are more than 0, puts out 100. Boop. And I should say that the SRC1 and 2 are binary, so they're only ever at 100 or 0, because that's technically important for how this is worded. And we are going to actually split this. So one of them is going directly to out 2, and then the other one we're going to invert with a NOT gate, and send that to out 3. So this is the opposite of this, which is why we're taking basic this, and we're putting it through an inverter, and we're sending it to that. Oh, this is not as pretty music, because it's all binary. But yeah, there we go. Logic modules are really powerful. You're not just doing basic math now, you can change how signals flow with logic. In what way is that more powerful? Oh, I don't like this phrase. You'll see soon enough. This is going to get very complicated, I think, eventually. Because logic stuff does sometimes. Min-max test. Ooh, okay. Here we're going to need min and max modules. Min takes two inputs and outputs the smaller of the two. Max does the opposite. It outputs the bigger of the two. Okay, so it compares them. These compare things. SRC 1, 2, and 3 are random signals. Out 1 receives the greatest signal value of the three, out 2 receives the smallest. Okay, so I'm guessing a min and a max module probably only take 2 inputs each? Yes, okay. So what we're going to need to do is to get the biggest of 3, is first we need to get the biggest of 2 of them, and then compare the biggest of 2 of them with the third one to find out which is the biggest out of the biggest of 2 of them or the third one. Does that make sense? We're going to need to split all of these because we need each of them twice. Oh, I did not know I could move that. Oh, well that's very handy, isn't it? If you want to optimize cable length, you can just be like, yeah, I'll put this down here and have all my modules over here. Right, so now we've split all of these inputs, or sources rather. I think it's also very interesting the way these move around. Right, so what we're going to do is first we're going to work on the max. So we want to take 1 and 2. So this will be the higher of 1 or 2. And see if the higher of 1 or 2 is higher than 3. And whichever one of those is biggest, we put it out to out 1. And then we're doing the exact same thing again, but we're looking for the smallest each time. And putting it to out 2. I think it's interesting they specified these are random inputs. So if I pause it, you can see here that this is 20 minus 40. That's a terrible place to pause that. Can I pause it at a place where there aren't two the same? For crying out loud. Okay, hang on. Stop playback. Right, so it's going to pause itself here. Okay, so what we've got here is we've got 30, 40, and 20. We're comparing the 30 and the 40, and we're saying 40 is bigger. And then we're comparing the bigger of these two to 20, and we're saying 40 is bigger again. And here we're comparing 30 and 40, we're saying 30 is smaller. We're comparing the smaller of the two to 20, and this time we say, well, 20 is smaller. Boop. Just in case that wasn't obvious. Maybe I don't need to be explaining this in as much detail as I am. Maybe you all can just get by with me doing puzzles. As puzzles. I don't know. I'm just sort of thinking this might be required for you to know what I'm doing now, so that later you can sort of figure out what I'm doing when it's more complicated. Enough hand-holding. Let's try more complex circuits. Alright. That's the spirit. Irrigation system. Okay, so now we're getting onto some proper equipment, not just like lights and power generations and stuff. We should be decently familiar with VCAs and logic modules now. Yeah, I think so. Move on to the next step. We need to prepare the crop fields. This will require a functioning irrigation system. The first component is the central pump. It provides a very precise rate of flow of water. We need to regulate the flow using the given control signals. Combine the concepts you've learned so far, VCA, gating, and logic. Okay, so our objectives. When SRC2 and SRC3 are at 100 volts, send SRC1 to out. So we're using an AND here, and then we are using that to gate SRC1. Okay, so this is what we were talking about before. If either of them, but not both, are at 100 volts, send the inverse to out. And if they're both at 0, send 0. Okay. So I don't know yet quite how to make an XOR. That's definitely the most complicated. I think it's XOR. I'm going to keep saying XOR until someone has a shouting fit at me in chat or in the comments. If I'm using exclusive or wrong, please do feel free to let me know in the comments. Right, okay. What modules have we got? I don't suppose that we just have to have an XOR module, do we? No, we don't. Right. For starters, we are definitely going to need to split all of them. I know that for a fact. Let's actually try and use some consistent colours here. Okay, so number 1 is super easy. It's just an AND SRC1 and SRC2 and 3. Right? And we're going to take that, and then, so this is a binary signal. We need to multiply this binary signal by SRC1. Incidentally, this looks like a lovely thing to pump through, and this output that we're expected to give looks like a horrible thing to pump through. So I don't know what that's about, but hey ho. Right, so we're multiplying this by SRC1. We'll make it grey. Bip. And then that. Ooh! Okay, we don't have separate outputs here. We only have one output. Okay. Ooh. Okay. So this is suddenly a lot more complicated than it was before. Huh. I'm fairly confident we're still going to need the AND gate. Okay. And this, so this is another... This is another or not. But is there a better way to be doing this? I don't know of one. Oops. Okay, so this output is for this. I don't actually know if we're going to need to split this or not. I don't know what I'm doing either. No, I do know what I'm doing here. Okay. I've got a sum module. So what I'm going to do... I hadn't noticed I had a sum module. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to... So this is going to be 0 most of the time. And when this is 1, everything else has to be 0. That's kind of how they work. So I can just sum them all at the end and then put that into out 1. Okay. So I'm confident that I am on the right track. Okay. And then we'll put this together and times this signal by out 1. Boop. Right. Okay, so this is exclusive OR. How do you make an exclusive OR? Well, okay, so the easiest way to make an exclusive OR conceptually is to make an OR, and then we say OR and brackets not AND. So we have an AND of these two. We can duplicate that and then put it into a NOT, and then AND that NOT output with the OR output. That's the easiest way that I know. So that's what I'm going to do. It's definitely not the easiest way in general, but it's the easiest way that I know. So we've got an OR. We could actually use this OR and just split the result, couldn't we? So if we take not this, and we AND it together with the OR, and we times that by input 1, this needs the same colour actually, doesn't it? Right, and then we can sum all of these. I'm fairly confident that at any given time, only one of these says... only one of these signals, the CV signals, says 1 at any given time. Let's hook that all up to an output. Hit the play button. Okay, no. What have we done wrong here? Okay, so at this moment in time, we're outputting 24. Oh, we haven't inverted something somewhere. One of them's supposed to be inverted. This one's supposed to be inverted. I think? No, this one is supposed to be inverted. Okay, but I think I am correct in my assumption that at any given time only one of them says something. We're just gonna watch this sum. And yeah, okay, only one of these ever has a number at one point. So we can just put the signal into the inverter and it'll be fine. Okay, that's marvelous. Right. So take that away. We need to turn this into minus this, so we need to times it by -1. Times it by -1. Now put that in. There we go. Okay, marvelous. See, this was suddenly a lot tricky. Oh no, hang on. What's going on here? I thought that was fine. We're expecting an output of 0. Oh, that's because I'm doing this one wrong as well. If both SRC2 and SRC3, I got ahead of myself, are at 0 volts, then send 0 volts to out 1. Well, if I just take away this bit, and I think this is sending 0 volts there anyway. So I don't think I actually need any of this. I think I can just take this ore and pipe it straight into here. Okay, I made this a lot more complicated than it necessarily needed to be. But it's fine. Okay. We're getting there. We're getting there. Basically, that whole thing I had down in the bottom left here was to say, if complicated thing, output 0, otherwise output 0. So I didn't need any of it, because I was supposed to be outputting 0 either way. Excellent work, thanks. Can you hear the water flowing through the pump? No. That's the sound of life right there. Indeed. I could have been a pedantic what's-it, but I'm not sure how I was supposed to be a pedantic what's-it, so I didn't. Now that the pump is working, you need to rebuild a distribution circuit. The circuit takes the water flow and distributes it to the different irrigation channels. Right. SRC1 is an input signal. SRC2 and 3 are CV signals for 2 separate VCAs that control the intensity of SRC1. Hang on a sec. I have very itchy ears today. I think it must be an allergies day. I often get itchy ears when my allergies are playing up. If SRC1's intensity is higher, so higher keys us in we're going to need a max at some point, when controlled by SRC2, send SRC1 controlled by SRC2 to out 1. Otherwise, send SRC1 controlled by SRC3 to out 1. Okay, so basically we are just SRC1 times SRC2, SRC1 times SRC3, take those two things and max them. This is a lot simpler than the puzzle we just did. Right, we are gonna need to split. I think we only need to split SRC1? So this is... So that's SRC1 times SRC2. And this is SRC1 times SRC3. We max them together. And we just send that to the out, I think. Well, I'll hit play and see if it works. Oh, this has a little colour that is indicative of the intensity of the signal, I guess, maybe? I'm not really sure. It has a color anyway. Okay, that wasn't so hard. Good work, the irrigation system is nearly up and running. Irrigation controller. This is the last step for the irrigation system. This circuit is the central irrigation controller. It receives the signals from the main pump and the sensors and controls from the it receives the signals from the main pump and the sensors, and it controls the water flow. Once I'm done here, what's next? You'll see. Okay. We've got out 1 and an out 2. When the signal from SRC1 is more than 25, the signal from SRC1 is more than 25, out 1 receives 100 volts. Otherwise it receives 0 volts. Okay. Out 2 checks the value of SRC1's signal after it has been decreased by 25 volts. If the signal is still more than 0, out 2 receives 100 volts. Otherwise it receives SRC1 minus 25. Okay. So I'm definitely going to have to... So I think the key to this is we have an SRC1 minus 25. Bias takes an input and shifts it by an offset. So we need SRC1 minus 25. Right. So if SRC1 is more than 25, then SRC1 minus 25 is more than 0. So this... I feel like this is like an OR gate, but with only one input, basically, right? So at this point, hang on. So if I hit play here, this should go input, 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 nothing. Okay. Yeah, okay, so that does what I want it to do, even if it's a bit of a weird way of doing it. We are actually, though, going to want to... We're actually going to want to split this. Right, okay. Is there a more sensible way of doing this than using just half of an OR gate? I don't know, but we're going to use half an OR gate. Out 2 checks the value of SRC1 signal after it's been decreased by 25 volts. So that's okay. Yep. So that takes this. If it's more than 0, which is what this is checking, out 2 receives 100 volts. Otherwise, it receives SRC1 decreased by 25 volts. Oh, okay. So I actually want to split this OR output, because this is checking this. Checking this, if SRC1 is more than 25, is the same as checking if SRC1 minus 25 is greater than 0. Like, that's the same thing. I can note that down for you possibly. So SRC1 is greater than 25 is the same as SRC1 because you're just minusing 25 from both sides. Like those are the same thing. So I'm gonna split this output. Half of that goes directly to output 1. And then we're using this to say oh, hang on, what are we doing with this? If the signal is more than 0, output 2 receives 100 volts, otherwise it receives SRC1, otherwise it receives this. Okay. So when this is 100, receive 100. When this is 0, receive SRC1 minus 25. Hang on. Okay, so I need to not this. So this is now not that. So this is when this is greater than 0. This says 0. Otherwise it says 100. And then using this as a control for that, and then I think we're summing this together with this. I think. I hate these bloody timestamps. I'm not sure I can explain why this works, but I think it works. Okay, I'm gonna hit continue editing for a sec. So this is what we've got here. So this is output 1, which is just a yes/no signal. And then when this signal is yes, this needs to be yes. But when it's no, this needs to be this. So what we've got here is we've put this through this little VCA. And this checks if this signal is no. And if the signal is no, then this outputs this. Otherwise, it outputs 0. And when it outputs 0, this is outputting 100. So this is 100. And when the output is... When this is 0, this is outputting 100 times this, which is just this, to there. That's why it works. I hope that makes sense. It got the right answer. That's all that matters. Probably. Good, things are starting to come together. Alright, what's the next step? I'm sending you the specs now. I didn't know I needed glasses. Oh, okay. Radio broadcast system. For the next step, I'm going to need you to calibrate the farm's radio broadcast system. Huh? Why? You're going to need it for communications. To communicate with who? I'll explain soon. Start work on the broadcast system first. Okay. SRC1 is a random signal with occasional voltage spikes. Voltage spikes are always at least 75 volts. Send SRC1 to out1 with voltage spikes filtered out. At time steps with voltage spikes, send 0 volts instead. Okay, so we need to send SRC1 minus the bits where this is more than 75. So if we look at this signal, you can see it's do-do-do-do, and then bang, step, and then bang, do-do-do, bang. And for these times when it's bang, we need to send 0 instead. So we're going to use the sort of same basic premise as the last one, in that we want actually no, we're going to do it this way, and I might have to then add in another bias thing at the end. So we want SRC1 minus 75, and then we're comparing that to 0. Okay? We're actually going to need to split. Well, we're going to need to split anyway, so we might as well split this. And then we need... So this is telling us when... This is 100 when it is greater than 75. We want it to be 100 when it's less than 75. So we need to knot that. And then we're using this as a signal to just multiply by SRC1. I think. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. I've got achievement unlocked. Broadcast. Miriam, with all due respect, that was a terrible idea. We're just going to attract trouble. I think everyone out there just wants to hurt us. That's oddly cynical. Being realistic, we managed to survive so far because of our discretion. This is dangerous. What are you all talking about? All we've done is survive. We need to more than that. We need to thrive. What is going on? Sorry you had to hear all of that. I'll explain in a bit. Sending you the specs for the next circuit now. Okay, so we're possibly going to like attract lots of attention to ourselves using this broadcast system. Oh! Ooh! We have optional ones! Well, there's no such thing as an optional thing in the game. You have to do them. While you're working on the broadcast system, you could improve the amplification circuit. This one is optional, strictly speaking, but it could make the signal cleaner. Will you explain to me what the argument is about now? Fine. Okay, distribute the signals. The only problem I will say though with the optional ones is sometimes they're harder. Distribute the signals from SRC1 to out1 and out2. Well, that's easy. If SRC1 is less than or equal to 40 volts, then out1 receives SRC1 and out2 receives nothing. If SRC1 is more than 40 volts, then out1 receives 40 volts and out2 receives SRC1 minus 40 volts. Okay, right. So we're going to start by splitting SRC1. Right, good start. We then need to bias this by minus 40. And we're going to want to split that, because I know we're going to need SRC1 minus 40 later. And in this version we are comparing to 0. Okay. I'm sure there must be a better way of comparing something to 0 than this, but I don't know what it is, so we're doing it. We're just using half of an OR gate the whole time. Okay. So if this, then 40 volts go here, and this goes to there. Otherwise... Oh, we have a Yi. Hi there. Yi says, I'm sorry, this looks like the most boring game ever. I can understand that it has niche appeal, but I'm definitely in that niche. I love puzzle games, and I love stupid coding things, so, you know. Okay, if SLC1 is less than or equal to 40 volts, then out1 receives SLC1 and out2 receives 0 volts. Okay, so for out1, if this, then 40, otherwise SLC1. How the hell do I put that into code? What am I doing here? This is going to take me a while. I'm not going to get a good like time score on this, but that's fine because I don't care. He is a little upset. I'm actually going to go to the transition screen for a sec. Yeah, so let's get back to the actual game. Doop doop. Anyway, back to the game. Oh my goodness, my brain's frozen. I have zero idea what I'm supposed to be doing here. That's not true. I know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. I have no idea how to achieve it. Okay, what about out 2? Is out 2 easier to conceptualize than out 1? Out 2 is 0 if this is yes, or or it's this. So do I want not this? I'm going to split this because I think I need to do not this times by this. I think for output 2. Let's play that and see if that works. No, that does not work. Why does that not work? Why doesn't that work? I'm very confused. Possibly a little bit of a scam. So this, hang on, if I put a timestamp here, So at this point in time, what I should be having is an output of 58 to output 2. Oh, I don't need this knot here, that's what's the problem. I put the knot in the wrong place. Hang on. Right, so actually this just wants to be a straight sum of these two things. To output 2? Maybe? Oh, I know output 1 is wrong, that's because I haven't put anything to output 1. Okay, output 2 is now fine. Right, we've got output 2 solved. I think it's partly confusing because it's grouped by the condition for this, not by the output. So this, we then need to feed into a NOT gate. So that inverts this. And then we just want SRC1 straight. Times that by SRC1 to output 1. Think. No, okay. So what should be happening here? So let's say at this timestamp. Right, so here we're supposed to have an output to 1 of... Oh, it should be 40, shouldn't it? Okay. Oh, gosh. Okay. So this outputs, whenever this is less than 40, this outputs this. So what I could do is when this is supposed to be more than 40, I can max you against 40, right? So we have our... Do I not have an attenuator? What? Are you... I don't have a max or an attenuator? What? No, a bias. I needed a bias. That's... What? Okay. I don't like this. Okay. How am I supposed to do this without... How am I supposed to do this without a max? I don't know. I don't understand. So what I want to do is I want to take the output of one of these, the output of this one, and then attenuate it, and then max the two. That's what I want to do. But it doesn't want me to do that. So instead, I have got a sum. So instead I've got to take this, which outputs at 100, bias it by minus 60, and then sum them? I think? What a horrible way to do this. Nope, that didn't work. Why did that not work? Right, so this is currently outputting 27. Oh my god, what the hell am I supposed to do here? What am I supposed to do here? Not this. Okay. So when this is less than 40, this is displaying 0. Okay. As a bodge, can I times this by that, so that when this is 0, this doesn't output anything? And then put that into the sum. Maybe? I think I've just done something wrong, but I'm not certain. Because these dark wires are very difficult to see. Oh, I might have fixed it. Okay. God, this is a total mess. This is a total mess, but I guess it worked. I am actually kind of inclined to look at the leaderboards, just to see, like, what's the best way of doing it. So I'm at 13,289. Global. Best is with only 6 modules. That's 5 fewer modules than I've used. That's crazy. I wouldn't even know where to begin. I have no idea how you do that. I'm not gonna try, but that's mental that someone's done that in like half of the amount of modules that I've used. What the hell? I have zero idea how they did that. Hello? Never mind. Oh wow, okay, lovely. Great, thanks Miriam. It's not that she blanked me, she sent me ... Hey, one of our engineers came up with this design for making spare min and max modules in case you don't have enough. You'll have to complete the design though if you have time. Wait, is there a limit on how many min and max modules I can have? Miriam and won't explain what's going on, will you? It's not my place to explain. Well, we know the answer to that question. Okay, build min and max comparators. At each time step, compare SRC1 and SRC2. Send the higher of the two values to out1 and the lower of the two values to out2. But presumably this is with me not allowed to use min and max, I guess. What? Is this possible? Are we sure this is possible? I guess this is like a real basic programming thing, right? Let's start with splitting them. Oh, oops, I didn't do that. No, come back. Splitting is usually a good idea. Each time step, compare them, send the higher of the two values to out 1, the lower of the two values to out 2. God. Where would I even begin? Signals I have, they're not binary signals. Okay, here's a question. What happens if I run something through a VCA with no control signal? It just outputs 0 all the time. Okay. So no control signal is the same as 0. Gotcha. Okay. Does that help me? I don't know. Okay, so I can turn one of them into a minus number. Okay, so if I have SRC1 minus SRC2, let's actually get rid of this split. I'm not sure I'm going to need it. No, I am going to need it. Right, so I sum them together. Then, if this is greater than 0, then output 1 is higher, so we output 1 to here. Otherwise we output 2 to there. So if I just... I need to find a spot where out 2 is higher than out 1, or source 2 is higher than source 1. Place where source 1 is higher than source 2, okay. So here it's outputting 100. And here it's outputting 0. Okay, fantastic. I'm gonna hedge my bets and say I might need to split this output. So when this is 100, So we can times 1 by this. And then we need not this. And we can times 2 by not this. And then sum them together. Oh, cool deck. Okay. Does this work? Unbelievably, that works. I'm actually going to split not as well. Because we then want to do like kind of the same again, but the other way around. So we want to times this by that, and this by that, and sum them together. And then that's out too. This is arranged horribly on my screen. Oh my god, did I do it? Did I make a min-max gate? I don't know if they're called gates. Did I make a min-max module? Oh my god! That's insane! Unbelievable. Okay. Right, let's see who's the best at this. So you can do that in 4 less modules. I don't feel bad about using 4 more modules than the best. Okay. Nice work. Sometimes implementing the behavior of a module from scratch really helps you understand the nuances. Yeah, I agree. Do I? I feel like I'm just sort of smiling and nodding there. Okay. Let's get on with the actual story missions. Radio clocking system. I suppose you deserve some sort of explanation. Yes! When we sent you out to reclaim your farm, it wasn't just to provide more food and housing for people already have. After all, we already have enough. The farm you're reclaiming has a second generation LS Agritech solar powered radio broadcast system. Far more powerful than the one we have on our home farm. I want to send out a broadcast to everyone in our vicinity, survivors living on their own, distant communities, anyone who needs a home or even just a friend. Announce our location and beckon all who might want to join us or just to trade to come. I want more than just survival, I want for all of us to thrive. To rebuild, to revive our societies, our cities, civilization. We can't do that just farming, eating and sleeping all over again. And why does Gordon object to this? He has his own reasons. He probably thinks it's dangerous. Yes, he believes we'll attract enemies rather than friends. I agree with Miriam on this, very much so. The broadcast system's clocking system is broken. Without it, it cannot tune into the right broadcast frequencies. Time to fix it. We sent you some clock modules. You'll need those. Uh-oh. Out 1, Out 2, and Out 3 receive clock signals at different intervals. That's not good news. What the hell is a clock signal? We have no inputs. Okay. Clock modules output trigger signals at regular specified intervals. These trigger signals can be used to trigger other modules. Okay. Okay, so we're now creating our own inputs. I can't have an interval of 1, which is going to be a bit of a problem, because these need an interval of 1. Unless it thinks an interval of 1 actually is an interval of 2? Programmers sometimes do this. Yeah. Programmers sometimes do this thing where they take the numbers that you've got that would be sensible and intuitive, and then they set them off by 1 for no particularly good reason. So, like, there are plenty of different coding languages and what have you, where the first item in a list is number 0. It's a really stupid system, but it's there. That means a list of length 1 only has something in the 0th position. It's absolutely daft, but they do this sometimes. So obviously what they've done here is they've decided an interval of 2 is actually an interval of 1, and an interval of, I'm assuming, an interval of 3 here, I'm assuming is going to be again called an interval of 2. Right, so we want to take this, we want to split it. Send 1 to the output. I was going to say we want to invert it. I guess we're not yet. So, which output is this? What's output 3? Needs to be knotted. Then this apparently needs to be an interval of 3. Just straight to the output. Yeah, okay. So that's going to be a struggle to remember that the clocks are wrong. I can understand why you'd number them this way, because it starts a pulse 1 in every 2 steps, and then this starts a pulse 1 in every 3 steps. But then don't label it as the interval? Apparently, you can do this with 1 fewer cable. I don't know how. Good work. Gordon will send you the next specifications. I expect he wants to share his opinions with you. Is his opinion worth listening to? Oh, that's drama. Okay. Oh, I've been told off. I've been told off. Oh no. He's worth listening to, apparently. Radio memory buffer. Never did tell you why Mira appointed me lead engineer, did we? No, not really. I'm incredibly familiar with LS Agritech equipment. Pretty useful when working on farms filled with their stuff. The reason why I know their equipment, I used to work with them in the old world. Those machines you've been working on, I know so much about them because I helped build them. Why did they break? Why did they all break at once? He doesn't know. I wasn't executive level, so maybe these machines have secrets I don't know about. There is something outside of these machines. It's a mystery to me too. What was LS Agritech exactly? Biggest manufacturer of agricultural equipment in the old world. There used to be so many companies like it. Then its founder, Alvin Ellis, came along and he swallowed them all. You know how he did it? Owned the entire market? His equipment was state of the art and he priced them accordingly. The farmers couldn't afford it, but if they didn't have his equipment, their crop yields lost out to those that did. So Ellis gave them an offer. He'll rent out the equipment and in return get a cut of revenue. The more equipment they had to loan, the more profits he got. He practically owned them. That's ruthless. So what does this have to do with Miriam's plan? Because Eldon Ellis is still out there, he still has some employees with him. He promised them refuge from the chaos and they stayed. If we broadcast he'll be listening and he's going to try and reclaim what he thinks is his, and that means our farms. God, that's a point. What do you do in the apocalypse when all of the capitalists are still around? What do I do? What Miriam wants? I hope she knows what she's doing. I hope so too. Next step is to fix the memory buffer so we can record a short message and loop it for the broadcast. Along with the clock modules, we sent some sample and hold modules. You can use those as a replacement for the memory buffer. Out1 receives memory buffered signals from SRC1. At regular intervals, the memory buffered signal is updated to the latest signal from SRC1. What the hell does that mean? In English, please? Clock modules output trigger signals at regular specified intervals. These trigger signals can be used to trigger other modules. Sample and hold modules act as memory, sampling and storing the input value when triggered. The stored value is sent to the output until a different value is sampled. Okay. I like how it doesn't tell me what the regular interval is. So if I have a clock and a sample and hold, I assume the gate. So this, hang on. I guess, so this changes every 2. So I want an interval of 2. That's the gate, and this is the in, and this is the out. Okay. Oh, this is pretty evil. So every time this is 100, this will update to the new current in, I guess. This is evil. It's done, the broadcast system is ready. What now? Now I'll record a message and you will broadcast it. You're ready to receive the recording. Send it over. Hello fellow survivors. I'm broadcasting from the abandoned farmstead north of the intersection of Highway I-451 and I-82. We're a community of survivors who have survived this new world through collaboration and cooperation with one another, and we'd like to invite you to join us. If you are out there, a lone wanderer just scraping by, find us. We have a home for you. Broadcasting now. Now what? We wait. If there's someone listening, they'll find you. What if it's Ellis Agutech or bandits? Then we'll join you over there and help you defend. Don't worry, we'll be there for you if they come. Wait, so they're inviting... we're inviting them to me? Not to you, or to anyone else, just to me. Great, fantastic, amazing. Thanks so much, Miriam. I'm obviously the expendable one of this scenario. That's why she didn't send Gordon over here. Hopefully nothing bad happens from the broadcast. Maybe they're long gone. People like him, they know how to survive no matter the cost. We'll see, I guess. Are you saying that they had the apocalypse and the first thing they did was not to eat all of the billionaires? Because that was silly if so. We should get back to work preparing this farm. If we do get survivors joining us, we'd best be prepared. The vehicles. We'll need them to till the fields for planting and for harvesting. We can start with the tractors. Turning them on requires a key code, but we can hack them. Out 1 receives a clock signal with an interval of 6 time steps. Out 2 receives buffered signals from SRC1. At regular intervals of 6 time steps, the buffered signal is updated to the latest signal from SRC1. Okay, so that doesn't sound hard. We just gotta have a clock. Have a clock. Split the clock because we need the clock for 2 different things. One is an output, and then one of them is gating a signal from SRC1 to the other output. Right? No. That's because I didn't set my bloody clock interval. I see the problem. So this is going to update 1 early. Okay, so that's where the puzzle comes in. Right. Gotcha. Right, we don't need this yet. We'll put... right, so what we need is a clock at a speed of 3, and another clock at the speed of 2, and then we need to AND them. Split that. I thought that seemed a little too simple. So I think... yeah, there we go. There we are. Okay, so this is the more mathsy bit. Fantastic. There we go, tractor's up and running. There's some improvements you could make to it though if you're up to it. I'll take a look. So we've got more side quests. How are we doing? We're 2 hours in. I don't know. I was considering only going for 2 hours because I started out the stream with a little bit of a headache, but I am very much enjoying myself. But I don't know how much game there is here. I don't want to sort of go for 3 hours and then there's only like 3.5 hours worth of game. So I might do one of these optional ones and then we'll perhaps call it there for today. Well, here's a fun distraction. The tractor has a music player. Yes, love listening to country music while travelling at slightly faster than walking pace. Oh nice, yeah, go fix it. Go get it fixed and listen to some of those fat beats. Fat beats? Please never say the word fat beats in my presence again, Gordon, ever. Objectives: make a drum beat. Out 1 is a kick drum, out 2 is a hi-hat, out 3 is a snare drum. I'm sorry, what? Thanks for being so descriptive, game. So this is a 1 in 4. That's fairly easy. This is an inverse 1 in 2. This is interesting. This is a 1 in 4. Offset by 2. How the hell do you do that? How do I offset? Oh, okay, let's check that what we've got works first. Ah, so this is the classic boots and cats. Is what we've got here. How the hell do I offset a clock? Although I feel like when he said fix the sound system, I didn't realise that I was going to be making my own music over the sound system. Okay, so I could have a 1 in 4. And an XOR. Right? Okay, yeah, 1 in 4. Which I actually already got over here, so let's borrow you. Right. Put it into a splitter. And an XOR with an inverse 1 in 2 or a regular 1 in 2? A regular 1 in 2, okay. How the hell do we make an XOR? I've forgotten. We take an OR. Wait, that's a clock. We take an OR and an AND. Oh hell, I can't quite remember how you do this. uh, we take an and a NAND. And NAND. So this will put out 1 when they're both 0. Sorry, this will put out 1 when they're both 0, and this will put out 1 when they're both 1. We OR this, and then not it. This is a horrible way to make a gate. I'm sure this is not how you're supposed to make an XOR, but it's fine. Yeah, we go. Boots and cats and boots and cats. That's why it's called boots and cats, you see. Fantastic. What did the people who are good at this game do? Because it wasn't this. Me. They used 3 less modules. I wonder what they were. I wonder how they did that. I mean, they made a sensible XOR gate as well, what they did. Nice. Send some recordings over when you have the chance. We're in desperate need of more music. The music library on this thing is pretty dull. Sure thing. Just making a hi-hat sound myself. Okay, that's where we're going to leave it there for today. So if you enjoyed watching, please do consider dropping a follow if you're here with me on Twitch. If you're watching this on YouTube, please do leave a like. And leave a comment as to how you're supposed to make an XOR gate, if I'm using the term XOR and NAND correctly. Or if I've done any other stupid programming things that are not how this is supposed to work. I genuinely will appreciate any feedback, because I don't claim to be a professional at this at all. Like, I love this, but I'm not good at it. Other than that, you can find me on Twitter at thisfordemise. Tomorrow is Sunday. It is my day off. So I'll be back on Monday, and I'm hoping, I believe Monday is the release date for Spirit and Mouse, which is an upcoming game not dissimilar to Stray, I think, in sort of the idea behind it. So we might be playing some of that on Monday. There's also Potion Permit is out really recently that I really want to try. So expect more of this, but also some other new games coming up in the next week that I'm very excited for. Like vibrating up and down in my seat excited when I think about it, but I'm trying to restrain myself for the purposes of Twitch. Until then, this has been The Signal State. My name has been Dizzy. Thank you everyone so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Ta-ra!